If most people know how important investing is to building wealth, why does it seem like so few people actually know much about it? We've probably all heard of famous investors like Warren Buffett who've made mind-boggling amounts of money through sound investing techniques. But knowing this, why does it seem like 99% of the population has no idea what to invest in or even where to start learning about investing? Well, I'm here today to show you that investing actually can be simple. And so without further ado, here are my top 5 tips to get started with investing with very little money to start. Alright guys, so if you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome to the strongest family on YouTube. Make sure you do tap that little subscribe button if you like learning about money and investing and all types of things to, grow your happiness and fulfillment in life. And so number 5 that we're gonna talk about today is don't invest in what you don't understand. One of my favorite ways to actually choose what type of stocks or investments to put my money into is I only ever invest in stocks or companies that I literally can't imagine my life without, like Amazon, like Google, like these companies that you literally couldn't even imagine not existing. Like, how would you get all these products delivered to your door in 2 days without Amazon? How would you actually search through the whole, world's information in all of history without Google organizing it? And so I only invest in companies that I personally understand and that I personally couldn't imagine my life without. And so just because you hear about some next new craze like, cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, but you have no actual understanding of that investment, even though you see all of your friends doing it and hearing about how the investment is shooting to the moon, right? Don't ever invest in something that you don't understand, because when there are investments that do ascend as quickly as Bitcoin did, you all saw what happened with Bitcoin as it came crashing all the way back down, and it has started to climb back up. But the truth is, guys, you're always going to be better off and happier only investing in things that you actually understand and can't imagine your life without. Number 4 is time versus timing. And what that means is time in the market will always beat timing the market, right? Because it's very difficult to actually time the market. Nobody knows when a stock is going to go up or down. And so trying to actually outsmart the market is never going to be in your favor in the long term. You have to remember that there's hedge funds and billionaires and these massive companies with these computer generated systems that are buying and selling stocks, by the millisecond. You're never going to be able to beat that. But what you can do is beat those type of people with patience and only investing in companies that you understand and planning on investing for a long period of time, because time in the market will always give you more of a return over time. Because if you look at the historical history of the actual stock market, you'll see that it's gone up and up and up and up over time. Of course there are, pitfalls, and of course there are, peaks, but the thing is, over the long term, over a long period of time, the stock market has always proven that it goes up. And so to summarize, I want to give a quote from Warren Buffett, who's probably the most famous investor of all time, who says his favorite period to hold a stock is forever. Which brings us to point number 3, which is think long term. It's next to impossible to actually predict the short term in your own life as well as the stock market. But with consistent actions over time and actually staying true and accountable to your investing strategies of holding things for the long term, you can predict success and you can predict a return. Because the longer you invest, the less chance you have of actually losing money, especially if you pick companies that have been proven to actually perform over the long term. And there's actually a number of advantages to thinking long term when you are investing. There's less emotion involved. You don't panic when something goes down for a day or for a week or even for a month, because you're thinking long term. It's also super easy. You don't have to go out and actually research stock after stock after stock to see what you want to actually invest in. And maybe most importantly is there's significantly less taxes. Long-term capital gains for investments that you hold longer than 12 months are significantly lower than the taxes that you incur for investments that are less than 12 months. Number 2 is when everyone else panics, that's when things go on sale. Warren Buffett says that their investing strategy is to be greedy when other people are being fearful, and to be fearful when other people are being greedy. And what he means by this is that when the market's going up higher and higher and higher and higher, that's when they're fearful, when everything's going too good. And when the market is actually crashing and it's at a low and there's news stories and everyone's talking about how the market is, going to be down forever, that's when they're greedy. That's when everything else goes on sale. And if you can actually adopt that mentality and have the emotional strength to actually invest, even when all of the news stories, all of the different TV channels, all of the stocks are going down down farther and farther and farther, that's when you want to actually buy in, especially in companies that you believe in, because when everyone else is panicking, that's when you can get the best price for these companies that have performed over, many years and are very, very likely to continue performing, as the stock market has proved over hundreds of years of being in existence. Because as I've mentioned before, the stock market has gone straight up over the long term, but there are inevitable periods where the stock market crashes, there's corrections, there's economic recessions and things like that. And the people who make the most money are the ones who understand and save their money for when that happens, and then invest and go all in into companies that they believe in, and into companies that they can't imagine their life without, and into companies who have performed over the long term. And my number one favorite investing strategy for 2019 for beginners is don't get emotional. And I'll admit that this is easier said than done, because when you are losing money in the stock market, everyone's panicking, every news story says that the market is crashing and it's gonna be over, and everyone's gonna lose everything. It's very, very difficult to not get emotional and sell stocks in a panic or with emotion. But the number one advice that I could possibly give you, and the number one advice that I hear repeated again and again and again from all of the different top investors of all time, is the less emotional you can be, the better your investing strategy will be. Because when you get emotional is when you make bad decisions, and when you make bad decisions is when your actual investments go down into the toilet. And so you want to understand that when you stick to an investment, you have to actually be accountable to yourself. You say, okay, I'm going to buy 10 shares of Amazon and I'm not going to sell it for 1 year. Put an alarm in your phone for 1 year from today's date, and don't under any circumstances, no matter what happens, sell that stock. And if you trust the stock market, which you should, because history has shown us again and again and again that the stock market goes up over the long term, then if you believe in that stock, and if you can't imagine your life without that stock, you have to be accountable to yourself, maintain your emotions, and don't panic if anything does go wrong in the short term. And if you guys like these strategies on passive investing, then you'll love this video right here on how to make passive income even while you sleep. See you there. You can see literally right here, over $96,921. And if we're actually gonna refresh this really quick, you can see we made over $1,000 a couple days ago, over $95,000. And that's just one affiliate program. We can see this one as well. And we'll also refresh this one just so you guys can kind of see that, this is 100% real.